Hello?
Hi, could I speak to Steve Walsh, please?
This is he.
Hi, Steve. This is Gary Sauer calling for our interview.
Hi, Gary.
Hi, how you doing? Can you hear me
I'm
okay?
good, man.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot for, taking the time out to do this for me.
Okay.
Let's just get started, I guess. What is your first musical memory?
I suppose singing in front of the family would probably be the first memory that I have of anything like that, and then I guess, I don't know, after that would probably be various grade school type plays that I somehow wound up in.
Was your family musical?
My mom really has a gift for melody, I think. She belongs to this organization called the Sweet Adelines.
Oh, okay.
And, she always was real active in her younger years in performing in some way or another. So, yeah, I suppose I was just kind of, pushed, if you will, in that direction.
Well, that's great. How did you realize that you had the vocal range that you have? Was that early on, or did that really not kick in until puberty?
Well, I just don't know. I don't remember having an incredible talent for that until I wound up with the guys I'm with now and got real sick and quit smoking because it made me sicker when I smoked.
Right.
So I quit smoking while I was sick, and I don't know. It was pretty devastating. What happened while the next time we played? It was unbelievable, really. And then I started smoking again.
Well, they almost say that all the great singers have this smoky quality to their voice.
Yeah.
What about the piano? And were you made to take lessons, or again a natural ability, or what?
My first piano lesson. Well, the teacher met me, and she was. I will never forget her. She was very strict and reminded me a lot of the witch on The Wizard of Oz. She was just that hardcore. Didn't have any kids of her own, but taught nothing but children. And there was only one way to learn, and that was her way. So I came in to meet with her, with my mom there, and she said, "Okay, I'll see you in a week for your first lesson. And for your first lesson, I want you to write something. I want you to come up with a musical piece."
Wow.
And
nothing like putting you on the spot.
So I said, "Okay, all right." And I showed up with one. I wish I had it. That would be a kick to still have that.
Yeah, the first Steve Walsh recording, that would be awesome. And what was the first concert that you ever attended?
It was the Shadows of Night in Wathena, Kansas. It's right over the bridge from St. Joe, Missouri, where I grew up. And I went to see the Shadows of Night, who had a big hit with the song Gloria. Gloria.
Right.
You know that. And that's who that was my first concert.
And how did you meet up with the guys in Kansas and get that band started?
I just kind of, maybe outgrew the St. Joe thing. But the thing about Missouri and Kansas was the hugest difference in the world existed between them, because not only did the states change names, but the drinking age changed ages. Say, Missouri was 21, even for beer, even for 3-2 beer. You go, over the bridge to Kansas, all of a sudden you can be 18 and drink. Well, anybody that was a working musician, most of their work was in Kansas, because that's where the bars were, and that's where the young people went.
Sure.
And so I really never realized that until I had just kind of heard through the grapevine that some guys in Topeka, Kansas were looking for what were they looking for? A keyboardist, I believe. So I went down and auditioned for the guys, and they asked me if I could sing any, and I did. And they kind of, they really, I guess I was just what they wanted, because they just offered me the job on the spot.
Great. When Kansas was first coming on the scene, did you kind of, I know that the critics sort of lumped you in with, the British progressive rock scene with Yes and all those groups. Did you feel you were part of that at all?
Well, I sure wanted to be. It's something, again, it's something that I never was experienced in living in Missouri. But once I came to Kansas and got around Cary, all my influences started to be with groups like King Crimson and Gentle Giant and Genesis and all the groups that he was listening to and gravitated toward. All of a sudden, I started seeing what he was seeing in it, and remembering what I had briefly learned in piano lessons, 10 years prior to that. So, boy, I mean, we sure as hell wanted to be in there with that bunch.
And what was Don Kirshner's involvement in the band in the early days?
Oh, he was so confused. Poor Don. I mean, he signed us on a demo that I wrote all the songs for, and we were White Clover, 5-piece band. Okay, so we send Don a tape, and it gets to him, and he wants us because we've got a violin, and he thinks he's gonna hawk us as some kind of hillbilly hoedown group because of the songs that I had submitted were pretty. Oh God, they were awful. I mean, it gives me shudders just to think about them. So we go in to record our first album, and we have already hired Cary into the group, who has just introduced us to, his whole repertoire of musical compositions, which were, at least 180 degrees away from mine.
Right.
And man, when we delivered that album, I mean, Kirshner didn't know what the hell to think. Because, he had his game plan and shit, and all of a sudden, we throw this big curveball at him. Well, lucky for us, one of the songs that that was included on the first album that I had written started to take off and get airplay. And so, in a way, that kind of introduced us to FM radio, and got us in the door. In those days, you know, having a product at all was a big deal. Nowadays, hell, anybody burns a CD and puts it on a shelf in Best Buys, and all of a sudden they're you know, one of the million or so CDs in one of those stores. But back then, if you got signed to a record deal, you were somebody. So that's kind of the way it all happened. But, you know, lucky, like I say, lucky for us, it just started to take off. And the second album that we had, hell, it only had 6 songs on it. And none of them were any less than 7 minutes long. So, you know, again, Kirshner's scratching. He said, what the hell do I do with this?
Right, with a drum solo in one of them to boot, right?
Oh, probably. I haven't listened to him in a while. And then the third, we were just trying to, you know, the third album was really, it was confusing. I mean, if you listen to it, there's a lot of people that like the Mask album, but to me, I was writing songs for the whole wrong reason, and you know, and Carrie was doing all right. And then the fourth album, Carrie did unbelievable, and that's when he came to bear. And you know, we were primed and ready to be famous, because we had been on tour, you know, at that time for at least 3 years with major acts.
Right, and then Don Kirshner looks like a genius, right?
Yeah, right.
I was reading on your website, and you have some memory sections there, opposed to where you're telling some stories. Maybe tell us another crazy story from the early Kansas days. I especially like the one where you guys raided the refrigerator in the hotel room. That was pretty funny.
That's a true story. I mean, there's just nothing like those kind of memories. Bogalusa, Louisiana was where we recorded in those days, in the early days. I'm talking Mask, Leftoverture, and part of Point of No Return. And this place is the most bumfuck place you've ever been to in your life. It's built around a paper mill, and if you've ever been around a paper mill, you know how bad it just, you know, the air is so pungent.
Yes, I have been. It's horrible.
Yeah, anywhere near it, it's just really bad, and it definitely has an environmental effect, because, you know, you could see it in the people who lived there. You know, and they were very unfortunate. Well, in the middle of all this, there's this multi-million-dollar studio. You know, typical story. A guy's father has way too much money, probably made it off of the paper mill itself. But I don't remember how he made his money. But he gives his son, what do you want to do, son? Well, pick a project. Okay, Dad, I want to build a multi-million-dollar state-of-the-art recording studio in the middle of nowhere. And Father says, okay. I mean, they had everything that you would ever want at the time. We were flabbergasted. And they had a brochure that talked about an airstrip that, you know, you could land on, and horses that you could ride, and a house that you could that you wouldn't have to rent. It came with the studio that you could live in. You know, the whole band could live in this house, and you know, it made it look very, very attractive. Okay, let's get away from everybody and everything, and hole up here for, you know, 2 months and record an album. Well, when we got there, the studio indeed was unbelievable. It was beautiful, but that was it. The house that we had to stay in was a joke. It was like some shack that barely had running water. I mean, I stayed there, but everybody else went, no way, and they bailed to a hotel that was close by. And I'll never forget how big the bugs were down there. And I mean, and there was some species, I swear, I never saw before or since that time in Bogalusa. But the one thing that I do remember is one of the road crew had a motorcycle, and he was taking me back to the shack that I was staying at. The only reason I was staying there is because I could practice on my organ real loud, because there wasn't anybody around. This was literally in the middle of nowhere, whereas the motel that everybody else was staying at was in the middle of the quote-unquote town.
Right.
But anyway, he's driving me back, and it is pitch black. All you can see is out of this front headlight of this motorcycle, and this roadie was out of his mind. I suppose we were both stoned at the time. But he's going, and there's no street lights. Hell, there's barely pavement on the road. I mean, you know, it's very out woods. And all of a sudden, we come upon, an armadillo. And we had no idea what the hell it was, because he was going so fast. I was on the back. He was going so fast, and we hit that damn thing square, and was airborne. We went straight up in the air, and it just seemed like forever that we were up in that air. But he came down, and we did not crash, and I couldn't believe it. But we turned completely around to see that this armadillo was once again in our headlight. And this thing just got up, shook its head, and took off into the woods. And, you know, I mean, that was a hell of a night. I could not believe I was still alive, let alone I had seen some prehistoric beast that we had run over and survived to tell the tale.
And it just shook its head and walked off.
Just shook its head like, what the hell are you trying to do? And just walked off.
Like goddamn rock stars.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to continue now with part two. And when we left off part one, he just told that armadillo story, and he was laughing. And then here's another cringe moment. My next question is, why'd you leave Kansas? Which he's probably answered about 600 times. And right after I asked it, I'm like, why did you answer that? Or why did I ask that question? I had it written down, and I sort of wanted to know for myself. But he, again, you know, expecting the worst, Steve was very gracious and answered the question. So here's part two of the interview.
When you decided to leave the band, what were your reasons for doing that?
Oh, hell. That's pretty involved. It's the, you know, the shit that you've read time and time again. It's just, you know, hell, we had been together for, what, 5 or 6 years at that time. Anybody who lives in the confines of a group for that long, while trying to exceed in a compelling medium like, you know, songwriting was for us all. You know, you're bound to have this wall of animosity building up brick by brick. You're just bound to, because you're not going to see eye to eye with everybody else. You're just not going, not if you're a strong-willed person, and not if they are also. Plus, you know, shit, we was all in our mid-20s when we got together, so we weren't even real people. I mean, we were just barely people, and you know, little by little, Carrie started discovering what it was that he was about in life, and you know, I knew that he had written some of the most inspirational stuff that I had ever had the privilege to sing, ever, even since. But it just started to really grind on me that I was having to mouth this inspiration in a way that I didn't feel comfortable at all. It was too specific. It was just way too specific. And so I had to go, you know what, this just isn't going to work for me anymore. I mean, it's obviously me that's going to keep this whole thing from doing what it should do. So I had to walk away because, Audio Visions was a joke. It was, we could barely stand in the same room the whole time. It was really bad. So, shit, I just had to go. It just isn't worth it.
Right.
Cost me a hell of a lot of money. But, I was young. I thought, hey, I'm bulletproof and I'm going to live forever. So I made that decision.
And then what made you put the band back together again?
Oh, Phil and I decided that it would be good. Plus, we had an opportunity to work with Bob Ezrin, who was, Andrew Powell, who was just fantastic, from England and shit. And, that was pretty cool. So, yeah, we decided to go back and try to do it again.
How was recording, let me make sure I say this right, Glossolale, I always mess that up, Glossolale, how was that different from recording Schemer Dreamer? And why so long in between solo records? Well,
Glossolale was recorded pretty much in the room that I'm speaking to you from now. It wasn't really conceived as an entity. It encapsulated songs that were, new as well as 10 years old, I think. And, I never stopped writing. Hell, I'm writing now, for what? I don't know. It's just when it's time, I guess. I was approached by Pete Morticelli of Magna Carta Records, who asked me if I was interested in doing a solo CD. And I told him, geez, I don't know, Pete. Let me think about it. And when I thought about it, cripes, I had like 15 or 20 songs. And I thought, well, wait a minute. I've got this whole backlog of stuff. This is my chance to do it, So that's what I did. I just started with Trent Gardner, and I laid it out to he and Pete, and I said, you guys pick what you want me to do here. And that's the way we started.
What is your process for writing songs? Do you do music first, lyrics first? Do they come in the middle of the night kind of thing? Or?
Oh, God, it's just, sometimes it just happens all at once. Recently here, it happened all at once. I don't know, sometimes it takes me months to do something that I like, but sometimes, again, it just comes to you like it's raining, like it'll never stop raining good ideas, as far as, you're concerned. And so, I just got off of that, luckily, this last week. I wrote a song in like 4 days and put it down as best I could. And it just everything kind of happened at once. The only thing that I had trouble with was the hook of the chorus was really troubling. And that's where, you really want to get an idea of what you hear repeated before you elaborate on what it is you're involved with. I mean, you really have to have a good repeatable thing And, you know, okay, if you don't want a repeatable thing, then you've really got to have a good story and something inspiring to keep people tuned into it. Keep yourself tuned into it, really.
What was it like working with Steve Hackett on Narnia and Racing in A?
It was fairly... it was kind of stiff. I mean, Phil and I were famous, and I suppose it was his record company that thought, you know, let's get a couple of famous people to be on Steve's solo CD. I mean, we were honored to death because Steve's a great guitarist and a really nice guy. It was real odd. English people are very conservative in their comments. I mean, I was watching last night. AMC had something on about the shooting of the Alien movies, and Sigourney Weaver was talking about Ridley Scott's direction on the first Alien, because, you know, she was brand new. She was a brand new actress, and Ridley Scott was, you know, fairly brand new director. And she too said, you know, he had this very measured response to things, and that's what I found about Steve. Pretty much, it was kind of disconcerting in a way, because, you know, he was so honest and fervent, and yet he was very dry, and, you know, you came in thinking that he was just going to go, God, that was great, you know, or something, and, you know, he would say in a very subdued manner, that was perfectly acceptable, or, you know, or something to the like, and you would think, wow, you know, geez, I don't know whether to be happy or try again, you know.
Or spot on, as they like to say.
Yeah.
Is there someone you've always wanted to work with, and why?
Kate Bush, because I think she's a genius.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Kansas was always set apart by having two really good vocalists, yourself and Robbie, and now you have Billy Greer in the band as well, whose his voice is pretty amazing as well. Where'd you find Billy? And I read a quote that he said that he thinks he has sung "Carry On Wayward Son" more than you. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, I agree with him. He's, you know, I sing all the verses all night long, and the choruses, I give the high parts to Billy most of the time, because I can't cop to those choruses and try to elaborate during the verses too. Just can't do it. And we found Billy. I found Billy a long time ago, looking for a bass player for Streets. That's the way I found Billy. And I was looking for a singer who played bass. Lucky for me, I found a singer who played, you know, all kinds of stuff. So, and yeah, Billy's great.
Yeah, actually, the first time I heard, I got the DVD and the CD of Device Voice Drum, and I got the CD first, and I'm listening to it, and it gets to Carry On Wayward Son, and I'm like, wow, Steve's voice is still sounding so great at the end of the night. And then not until I got the DVD did I realize it was Billy singing the high parts on there.
Yes, sure is. And he deserves a lot of credit for that, because he can hit it.
And speaking of the DVD, was that kind of Phil's baby, as far as, you know, getting it, the idea and so forth?
Phil has always wanted to do the DVD. We did Live at the Whiskey going on about 10 years ago, and that's probably the low point of my whole life, is having to live with the fact that I was involved with that.
Why? Why do you think that?
Because it sucks.
I like it.
It's video. It's awful. In my opinion, my voice was real bad, real raggedy, and what you're listening to are all overdubs. I mean, live, it was a joke, and even in overdub land, I couldn't land the parts. I was smoking a lot of pot. I was drinking a lot of whiskey. So, you know, that shit, if you throw that down on your throat every day, there's going to be some repercussions happen. The video thing, I swore I'd never do again. And so Phil has always had this idea, and so I said, okay, I'm in on this. But I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to do it on video. I'm not going to do it. We are not a pretty band. And video is way too stark and way too shallow. I mean, you got to light every light in the house to get enough light to saturate videotape. So I said, you know, I don't want every crag on our face to show up on the next project that we do. If we do it, we're going to do it at least on 16 mil film. And he said, okay. So he went to price it, and you know, found out that, you know, 16 mil super was 3 times as expensive as videotape. That's why nobody does it.
Right.
See, so I said, well, that, you know, that's just going to be the way it is. Either we're going to do it that way, or we ain't going to do it, or else I ain't going to do it, because I'm just not going to be a part of that. So we shopped around, and luckily Reel to Reel was looking for a project to go in on with somebody. And, you know, since they are in Jonesboro, where Phil lives, hell, he only lives about a mile from the studio, it was just a perfect marriage. And, you know, we were very impressed with them, and, you know, they've always wanted to be involved with us, so it was just a natural.
On the with the bonus section of the DVD, there's some interviews with you guys, and you stated that it was one of the most nervous things getting ready to do this performance for the DVD. How nervous were you? I mean, it looked like you looked a little tight in the beginning, not you personally, but like the whole band, and then it seemed as the show went on, you guys got more and more relaxed.
Well, that's usually the way all of our concerts are, really. We had even had a dress rehearsal, but yeah, I mean, there was a lot of hair on that gig in particular, because there was just no retake, you know, and we only had a certain amount of film, and yeah, I mean, everything had to work. That night was one of the most important nights of my professional career, because everything had to work right. And if it didn't, then it wasn't, you know, that was it. We didn't have any money to do a second shoot anywhere. And so, you know, you see other DVDs like Bad Company and other bands like that. Even Bruce Springsteen at Madison Square Garden, they're shooting multiple nights. Well, we didn't have that. We didn't have the budget. We had one night to do this, and we did it.
And the look on Phil's face at the end of the show, it looked like just total relief. Like, thank God it's over.
Yeah, he was drained. He was totally drained. There was a lot on his plate that whole week.
As far as with Kerry not in the band, that kind of ties you to the keyboards. Do you mind that at all?
Not really. I mean, hell, I'm 50 years old. I can only jump around like an idiot for so many years till I start embarrassing myself. You know, and it's, you know, I mean, hell, it's Robbie's show now, and that's okay with me. I mean, I need a lot to do. Don't get me wrong. That's why I jumped around a lot, because, you know, we needed a front man when Robbie wasn't in the band, and so okay, I guess I can do it, and but when we got Robbie back, then okay, you know, here's the center of the stage, and you know, let me do something else now.
Was Kerry invited to participate in the DVD?
We wanted this DVD to represent who and what we are now, and that's what we did. That's who we are, and that's what we are now.
Okay. There was a section, I meant to go back and look again, but I believe it was during Miracles Out of Nowhere. It was one of the songs where you and Robbie share the vocals, and he had the handheld mic kind of standing over by you and the keyboards, and the camera shot to something else, and then it came back to you guys, and you guys looked like you were hysterical laughing at something. Do you possibly remember what that was you were laughing about?
It was a yeah, Robbie embarrassed the shit out of me is what he did. It was my birthday, and June 15th is my birthday, and I mean, he took about, I don't know, it seemed like forever, but he took about 5 minutes and, congratulated me and said how much he appreciated my involvement in the band and everything. Of course, geez, I had no idea he was going to do this, and meanwhile the cameras are rolling, and I'm thinking to myself, God damn it, we got to proceed, Robbie. We got to, So at the same time, you want to look humble and everything. Oh, thank you. But at the same time, you're going, Jesus Christ, we're blowing it. We're blowing valuable movie here, film. And we're liable to run out at the end, in the middle of Wayward Son or something.
Right.
So it was just kind of nervous reaction. It was either scream like an idiot or laugh like a hyena, which I chose the latter.
Here's part 3, and what else? I'm trying to think if there was any other things that I regretted asking. Well, you'll hear it at the very end. There's just one question I asked, and I was like, oh man, I can't believe I just asked that. But you'll hear that. So here's part 3 of the interview with Steve Walsh.
What are some of your favorite songs to sing?
Oh, The Wall, I think, is the most meaningful that I sing, because it's just one of Carrie's best lyrically. Lyrically, it's very involving. It's ambiguous enough that you can apply it to all kinds of situations in your life, no matter who you are. There's always an obstacle. Hell, Eminem could do it. There's always an obstacle to overcome. And there's, really when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, there's only one person that can overcome that obstacle if it's your obstacle, and that's yourself. And that's kind of what that song is all about. It doesn't allude to any... It isn't specific enough to allude to anything that is pertinent to one situation. So therefore, I thought he captured the ambiguity as well as the just the suggestion of the suggestive manner of his construction. To me, was just great, and still is.
And do you think you've ever sung that song the same way twice? I've heard a lot of different recordings of it. It seems like your inflection is different almost every time.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I don't do that on purpose. It's just like...
Well, I didn't say it was a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever... I've never tried to sing it the same way twice. Maybe that's what I should say, is that it's just so natural to me and so deep within me and a part of me that I guess I can just kind of feel it, and it almost just kind of sings itself.
It is a very emotional song. Is there any song that you're sick of singing? Like, if I have to sing this song one more time...
Let me think. I don't really care for People of the South Wind at all, because it's so perky, it's so happy, and any song about Native Americans should be anything but happy.
Right.
Because, and so, it kind of, and we've tried to goof with that song. We've tried to, ever since Carrie left, that is. I've tried to rewrite that, and it just always comes out so damn happy that it's, I wouldn't care if I never sang that song ever again.
Is there a song, from Kansas that you wish you could do, but the other guys just don't really want to do?
On the Other Side, I think that's, again, I think it's an excellent, excellent lyric by Carrie. And Phil captured the drum part, everything good. The fucking chorus is really cool as far as I'm concerned. But that was, what was that, on Monolith, I believe.
Yes.
And even Reason to Be. Reason to Be was on Monolith. Those two songs by Carrie, really good songs. And I wish we could do those again.
I like Away From You from that album also. I think that's a really good song. Tell me about this Genius rock opera CD that you're involved in.
All I can tell you is that I sang it. That's really, I mean, I'm not trying to be hard about it or anything, but I was asked to sing on it. I was hired to sing on it. I share nothing from the profits of it. I am that much of a part of it, and lucky me. I mean, I'm lucky that I can get work outside of Kansas singing, and the people that I dealt with, Danielle Liverani, over in Italy, real nice guy, and it's his baby. It really is.
I've read that you're a movie buff. What types of movies do you like, and what do you think is the best movie of the year so far?
Well, I'm still doting on last year. I still can't believe Lord of the Rings lost, but that's because Oscars don't usually award high-budget action flicks like that.
Right.
But to pick A Beautiful Mind, to me, was, Ron Howard's a great director and all, but that's like picking Steven Spielberg for Schindler's List. I mean, he deserved that too, but he deserved a lot more, a lot sooner. It's just overdue, and so they figured, well, we better give something to these guys, while they're still making good movies. But, shit, I don't know. I just saw a movie called The Gift with Kate
Blanchett, is that her name?
Yeah, Kate Blanchett. And God, what's that guy with a real long Italian name? Jeez, he looks really short too. Oh hell, I can't think now. But the Gift, real good. It's a mystery movie, and I loved it. I just saw a Comedian with Jerry Seinfeld. Excellent. It's a documentary though, and a lot of people, they don't really jive with documentaries, but it's really good. He shows it like it is, and I got to give him credit for that. That's a real cool thing to do. I like a wide variety of movies for a lot of different reasons. Pi is one of my favorite movies. P.I. Really good. Requiem for a Dream. They're both, but Pi and Requiem for a Dream are both by the same director, Darren Aronofsky, and they're really something to contend with. Both of those movies are